Let me get this right. If you're caring for an aging parent or you're past 60 yourself, the medicine cabinet in your bathroom may hold something that's quietly working against your memory, and almost nobody warns you about it. Today, I'm going to walk you through 9 common types of medication that research has linked to faster memory decline in older adults, and the one most seniors get wrong is so ordinary, so familiar, that it's probably sitting on your nightstand right now. Stay with me because I'm saving that one for the end. Now, before we go a single step further, I want to be crystal clear about something, because it matters. I am not a doctor. This is general education, not medical advice. I am not going to tell you to start anything or stop anything. In fact, I'm going to ask you to do the opposite of that, because stopping certain medications suddenly can be genuinely dangerous. What I want is for you to be informed enough to walk into your next appointment and ask a better question. That's the whole goal. Knowledge, not fear. So when you hear something today that sounds familiar, don't panic, and please don't go flushing pills down the toilet. Write it down. Bring it to your doctor or your pharmacist. Ask, is this still the right choice for me, and are there alternatives? That sentence right there may be the most valuable thing you take from this video. Here's something a lot of folks over 60 don't realize. As we age, our bodies process medications differently than they did at 40. The kidneys and liver work a little slower, so drugs linger longer. The blood-brain barrier, the filter that protects your brain, becomes a little more permeable. And many of us are taking 5, 6, 7, even 10 medications at once, a situation researchers call polypharmacy. When you stack all that together, a medication that was perfectly fine at 50 can start to have effects on your thinking that nobody intended. So let's go through the 9. We'll count them down and I'll tease you now. Number 1, the most common one, is the one I see people overlook the most. Let's start with number 9. Certain medications for an overactive bladder. If you've ever been prescribed something for frequent urination or sudden urges, some of the older drugs in this category, oxybutynin is a name you might recognize, belong to a family called anticholinergics. We're going to come back to that word, anticholinergic, again and again today because it's the thread that ties a lot of this together. These drugs work by blocking a chemical messenger called acetylcholine. The trouble is, acetylcholine is also one of the main messengers your brain uses for memory and learning. Block too much of it for too long. And studies have found a link to fuzzy thinking and, with long-term use, a higher risk of cognitive decline. There are newer bladder medications that act differently, so this is a perfect example of a ask your doctor about alternatives conversation. Number 8, older medications for depression, the ones called tricyclic antidepressants. Amitriptyline is the classic example, and here's the twist. It's often prescribed today not for depression at all, but for nerve pain, migraines, or to help with sleep. Many people don't even realize they're on an antidepressant. These are also strongly anticholinergic, and research has associated long-term use with measurable effects on memory and attention in older adults. Newer antidepressants generally have far less of this effect. Again, never stop one of these on your own. Coming off them abruptly can cause real problems, but it's absolutely worth asking whether it's still the best fit. Number 7. Certain medications for nausea and vertigo and motion sickness. Meclizine, promethazine, these too fall into that anticholinergic bucket. For a one-time bout of seasickness, that's one thing. But some older adults end up taking these regularly for chronic dizziness, and the sedating, memory clouding effect can build up quietly over months. Number 6. Muscle relaxants. Cyclobenzaprine is a common one. These get handed out for back spasms and stiff necks, and they're meant for short-term use, a week or two. But prescriptions get refilled and refilled again, and before you know it, someone's been on a muscle relaxant for a year. In older adults, these are linked to sedation, confusion, and an increased risk of falls, and several of them carry anticholinergic activity as well. Falls and memory problems often travel together, and this is one reason why. Number 5, the so-called Z drugs for sleep, medications like zolpidem. These aren't the same chemical family as the next one I'll mention, but they act on the brain in a similar calming way, and research has linked them to next-day grogginess, memory lapses, and in some studies, a higher risk of falls and confusion in seniors. Sleep is precious, I know, but there are approaches to sleep that don't carry these risks, and a good doctor or pharmacist can walk you through them. Which brings me to number 4, benzodiazepines. You'll know these by names like diazepam, lorazepam, alprazolam. They're prescribed for anxiety, for sleep, sometimes for muscle tension. They can be genuinely helpful in the short term, but a number of studies have found that long-term use in older adults is associated with impaired memory and a greater risk of cognitive decline. And here's the part I really want to underline. Benzodiazepines are among the most dangerous medications to stop suddenly. Abrupt withdrawal can cause severe, even life-threatening reactions. So if you're on one of these, this is not a quit cold turkey situation under any circumstances. This is precisely the kind of medication where you and your doctor make a slow, careful, supervised plan together if a change is even right for you at all. Let me pause right here because we're at the halfway mark and I want to give you something practical to hold on to. I've put together a simple, plain English checklist of the questions to ask your doctor or pharmacist about any medication on this list, the exact wording that gets you real answers without stepping on anyone's toes. It's free, and it's waiting for you in the link down in the description. Grab it before you forget, and then come right back, because the next 4 are the ones people are most surprised by. Number 3, certain acid reflux medications, specifically the group called proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs. Omeprazole is one you'll recognize, but there are several. Now, I want to be fair and careful here because the research on PPIs is genuinely mixed. Some large studies have found an association between long-term PPI use and a higher risk of cognitive problems, while others have not found a clear link. What we do know is that these medications can, over years, affect how well you absorb certain nutrients like vitamin B12 and magnesium, and low B12 in particular is a well-known cause of memory issues in seniors that is often missed. Here's the bigger point. PPIs are frequently taken for years longer than originally intended. They were often meant for a few weeks, and somehow they become a permanent fixture. So the question worth asking is simply, do I still need this, and for how long? Number 2, older first-generation antihistamines used for allergies. Think of the classic allergy pills that have been around for decades. These are powerfully anticholinergic, and that same property that dries up a runny nose also crosses into the brain and blocks that memory messenger we keep talking about. The newer second-generation allergy medicines were specifically designed to not cross into the brain the way the old ones do, which is why they don't make most people drowsy. Many seniors are still reaching for the old standby out of habit, not realizing a gentler option exists. That's another beautiful conversation to have with your pharmacist. They can point you to alternatives right there at the counter. And now, number 1, the most common one, the one most seniors get wrong. Are you ready? It's the over-the-counter nighttime sleep aids and the PM versions of pain relievers. Here's the secret hiding in plain sight. That PM or nighttime ingredient that helps you sleep is, in most cases, the very same old first-generation antihistamine we just talked about, diphenhydramine. It's the same compound, just sold in a different box with the word sleep on it. Millions of older adults take one of these every single night to fall asleep, completely unaware that they're taking a strong anticholinergic drug night after night, year after year. And this is the kicker because it's sold over the counter. Without a prescription, people assume it must be perfectly safe for long-term nightly use. But major research, including long-term studies tracking older adults over many years, has linked sustained use of strong anticholinergic medications to a higher risk of dementia. The dose and the duration matter. An occasional pill is a very different thing from one every night for a decade. I'm not telling you that pill caused anything, and I'm not telling you to throw it away tonight. What I am telling you is that this is worth a real conversation because so many people simply never think to mention an over-the-counter sleep aid to their doctor. They don't consider it a real medication. But your brain doesn't know the difference between something from the pharmacy counter and something from the prescription window. It only knows the chemistry. So let's tie this all together, because here's what I most want you to walk away understanding. The common thread through so much of this list is that word, anticholinergic, medications that block your brain's memory messenger. Doctors and researchers even have a way of adding up the total anticholinergic burden from all the different pills a person takes, because it's the combination, building up quietly over time, that does the most harm. One mild one might be nothing, but 3 or 4 of them together, taken for years, that's the situation worth catching. And the good news, the genuinely hopeful part, is that for nearly every single medication I mentioned today, alternatives exist. Newer drugs, different approaches, non-medication options. The path forward is not fear, and it's certainly not quitting anything on your own. It's a simple, respectful conversation. Make a complete list of everything you take. Prescriptions, over-the-counter pills, sleep aids, supplements, all of it, and bring it to your doctor or pharmacist. Ask them, could any of these be affecting my memory? And are there safer alternatives for someone my age? That one question, asked calmly and clearly, can change the trajectory of your next 10 years. If today's video helped you see your medicine cabinet a little differently, do yourself one favor. Go down to the description and grab that free question checklist I mentioned. Print it out, fold it up, and tuck it in your wallet so it's there at your next appointment. That's the kind of small step that actually makes a difference. Let me leave you with this. Getting older does not mean losing your mind is inevitable. So much of what we blame on just aging turns out to be something we can actually look at, ask about, and sometimes change. You deserve a doctor who will have that conversation with you, and you deserve to walk in armed with good questions. That's what we do here, together, every single week. Now please remember, everything I shared today is general information to help you ask better questions, and it is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, and I can't know your personal situation. Never start or stop any medication on your own. Talk with your own doctor or pharmacist about anything you heard today, because the right answer always depends on you. Take good care of yourself, keep that mind sharp and curious, and I'll see you in the next one.